Alright, here we are. We have 29 big slab crappie to fillet out. I've got my trusty electric.
He doesn't trust me with the electric.
I don't trust him with the electric. He's got the regular knife, but we're going to just assembly line these things. Look at these slabs, guys. Let's see if I can get a big boy out of here. Look at these guys. That's what you want. So if you've never seen this before, there's a real quick and easy way to fillet a crappie with an electric knife. Get it started like this. And I have to warn you too, these are going to have eggs in them because these are big females in early spring. So here we go. Just go right down the backbone. And then you just lay it over. Boom, there's a fillet. So then I'll drop that off for Erin. Basically what we're going to do here is just come down that side of the rib meat. Just cut that piece out. That knife could probably stand to be sharpened.
I've got a steel in my car.
But we just cut the rib meat out. And then this is an extra little trick that I like to do. I call these crappie nuggets. I like to take this line right here. Just cut straight down the line. And what was under the rib meat, I make crappie nuggets out of that. And then you've got one big, nice, skinless, boneless crappie fillet. So we're going to do that times 29. And we're going to let the camera roll just so you can see what we do. Flip them over and go again. There you go, I'll let you grab that. And I will grab the fish, put him in the trash. Alright, one down. Look at these slabs, guys. These are massive, massive crappie. Or if you're from anywhere other than South Carolina, you'd call these crappie. But us South Carolina rednecks call them crappie. So here we go. Not to be confused with the flavor, because these things are the best tasting fish in the water. Absolutely. So right behind the gills, with your electric fillet knife, then go right down the backbone. Then you just flip it over. And there's your nice solid fillet. And you just keep rolling. Alright, here we go. This way you don't even have to scale the fish, you don't have to skin them, you don't have to do anything. Just take your blade right down between the skin and the meat, and boom, there's your nice, perfect fillet. And that is the little quick, easy way to fillet crappie. And it helps to have your buddy here so you can do the assembly line.
Yay. So am I considered a crappie buddy?
Yep, you're my crappie buddy. You're my crappie friend.
I'll take that as a compliment.
And you could go as fast as you wanted to go. We're just kind of enjoying our day here. But if you're in a hurry, you can do this pretty fast. But for ease and time, I don't think there's a better way to fillet a crappie. And then that's all you got left. That might be kind of gross for you guys that aren't into this kind of thing, but that's all you got left when you're done. Okay, so here is a male. You can tell the dark coloration on them. They're way darker than the females. Look at his face, real dark. They're very pretty fish, and actually in the sunlight they've got almost like a blue iridescent kind of hue to them. It's just a really, really pretty fish. These males are not typically quite as big as the females, and we will make no jokes about that. Alright. Jokes are free. Oh, there's a small one. Wow. This is what you would qualify as a slab. That guy's, man, 14 and a half, pushing probably 15 inches. That's just a great fish. This one's over 2 pounds, like without a doubt. This is probably 2 1/4 or more. The only drawback to this, and there's very few drawbacks to what we're doing, but the only drawback to this is my wife won't touch me for a week after I've done this. She cannot stand the smell of fish, and you just can't get it off your fingers for a few days. But anyway, that's a small price to pay for these big crappie fillets, right? Wow. Guys, that is just another giant right there. That is a big, big crappie. Over 2 pounds for sure. Now, here is a little bit bigger male. Again, you can see the coloration, just really dark, really, really pretty fish. And that's a pretty good sized male right there. So, I say this about deer hunting too, because I kill deer and eat them. This is non-GMO. This is totally organic. This is about as organic as you're going to get when you go out and catch your own fish or kill your own deer and cook them. And there's just some kind of extra satisfaction to know that you went out and got the food yourself. I don't know if that's just a old Indian thing or an old redneck thing or just a human thing, but there's just something different when you go out and harvest it yourself.
Absolutely.
And I do have a little bit of Cherokee Native American in me. So that's, yeah, and so does Erin. So maybe that's why I love to hunt and fish and farm. I love to plant crops and farm. All of that stuff. I guess maybe some of that's way back in my Indian line. All right. Oh my goodness. Guys, that is another monster slab. That is definitely over 2 pounds. That is a big, big crappie, or crappie, however you like to say it.
Crappie.
You say crappie, I say crappie. I say yum.
We can all agree on that. Just for your viewing pleasure.
Oh yeah. And that's just pure, skinless, boneless fillets. No bones, no skin, no nothing. And what we do with these little, I call these crappie nuggets, it's kind of the rib meat. We actually batter those up, and I fry these, I deep fry them. These other ones, I'll do a lot of them on the grill, and with some Cajun seasoning, and man, they are spectacular. Hey, I've actually had friends from Florida that, you know, have plenty of seafood, obviously, in Florida, and they've come over and eat this as some of the best fish they've ever tasted. So if you've never had these, it's just really clean, really good tasting meat. I would take this over any other fish myself. They taste way better than bass or catfish or any of those.
Absolutely.
And way better than tilapia, might I add. So if anybody ever asks if I'm a crappie fisherman, yes, I am. But I'm a successful crappie fisherman. And there's a little bit of the proof right there. That's another just big slab. That guy's definitely over 2 pounds. That girl is over 2 pounds. Just awesome, awesome fish. It's so neat the way this works, that your 2-bladed, electric knife goes right down the top of that spine without cutting through, and it just makes a perfect fillet every time. And then when you flip it like this, all you gotta do is run right down between the meat and the skin. Don't even have to scale it or anything. Just zips right through. And you just get a perfect fillet every time. It does take a little bit of practice when you first do this. You got to kind of find the rhythm, but we've been doing it this way for years, and it seems to work really well for us. In the beginning, when you start doing it like this, you might mess up a couple fish, but then you figure it out pretty quick. That's the truth. If you've never crappie fished before, there's a general rule. If you're not getting hung and breaking off lines, you're probably not in the right spot. So crappie hang out in the thickest cover, all the falling over trees in the water, all of the places where you're going to lose a jig. Now we did catch every one of these on artificial 2-inch jigs. There were no live baits. These are just all from little Bobby Garland jigs. And they seem to love them. We've always caught a bunch with them. Hey, this brings up another good point too. There's actually a lot of unique, different ways to fish for crappie. You got jigging, you've got trolling, you've got cork, you got live bait, you got artificial bait, you got tight line jigging or tight line trolling, you got long line trolling behind the boat. There's so many different ways that you can do it. You got shooting, which is one of our favorites, where you actually, there's a technique where you grab the lure, open the bail, and you flick it and release it at the same time, and you flick the lure, a good 20 or 30 feet, and you're looking at a 1/32 ounce little jig head, and you can still fling it 20 or 30 feet like that, which if you're around docks or pontoons or things like that, you can actually flick it under the docks. It's called shooting docks. That's another way that we like to do it. But that's what's fun to me about crappie fishing too, is there's so many different techniques, there's so many different ways to do it. Like yesterday, we caught these, I don't know, at least a couple different of those ways. You just got to find out what they're biting. You might try one method and they're not hitting it at all, and then you switch over to another method and boom, all of a sudden you're on them. So you just have to experiment when you get out on the water and see what they like. And I bet you thought that you were finished seeing the big ones. Nope. Look at that guy. That is every bit of 2 1/4 easily. That is a big slab daddy right there. Oh, another thing I was talking about, different techniques. One of the things is if you've got a moving situation like trolling, a lot of times we'll use a lure that's got a little motion on it, like a little paddle tail. That drives them crazy, especially the black and chartreuse. That's what we found, is like the go-to. But then if you are doing more vertical presentations, you don't use the paddle tail, and it's just kind of sitting suspended in the water. When you flick it, that little tail just wiggles just ever so slightly, and that triggers the bite. Whereas that little paddle tail is just a continuous pulling motion. Now what was weird yesterday is they were hitting it on the retrieve most of the time, which a lot of times they hit it on the drop. But yesterday they were hitting it as we were retrieving it back to the boat. They would chase it in almost right at the boat sometimes and hit it, which was kind of neat. That was a little bit of a different thing too. So you just got to find out what they're doing, and every day is different. Now obviously it's really fun to catch a big old bass, like a 6-8 pound bass, But I'm telling you, man, a 2-pound crappie is kind of like catching a 6 or 8 pound bass. If you were to go pound for pound. Now I have seen guys that have caught these up to 3, 3.5, almost 4 pounds. I've never caught one quite that big, but I've seen them that big, so they do get even bigger than these. Now this is another interesting point. We do this for fun and we like to catch them and eat them, but honestly, not probably long ago, you know, people had to fish like this to survive. I mean, if you didn't catch your fish, you weren't eating supper. So, you know, we do it kind of more recreational, but it's a good skill to have. If the crap ever hits the fan, it's good to be able to go and get your own food. But the thing is, too, this is kind of hard to believe, but the boat that we use to catch all of these, I affectionately call the Crappie Assassin, is only a 8-foot long boat, and 2 of us grown men are in that boat, trolling motor, no outboard engine. It's just a tiny little boat with 2 seats, but we got rod holders everywhere. We've fished with as many as 8 or 10 rods on that little tiny boat. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a big giant outboard boat to go catch a lot of fish.
That's right.
We like the little boat because you can just kind of sneak up in the shallow water and you can just get up in there real quiet and easy. And it's a comfortable little boat to fish in. We'll have to post pictures of it soon so you can see what we're talking about. Like I said, we call it the Crappie Assassin. And if you're still watching by now, you're either really bored or you really like crappie. Fellowship is an old word derived from 2 fellows in a ship, which is exactly how we caught these fish. Like I said, the jokes are free all day. This is another thing, you don't have to do it this way, but I don't like cleaning fish when they're still flopping. So what I usually do is if I catch them like last night, we'll bag them up in Walmart bags and I'll put them in my refrigerator overnight and they're chilled and then they're not sitting there flipping and flopping when you're trying to clean them, which is not fun. So now it's just a lot easier to deal with. Another pretty good slab. That's one, guys. Now I think we got another big male right here. Let's see. Oh yeah. There was a pretty good sized male. Again, you can notice the deeper, darker coloration, and especially around the face and the gills. This is something I haven't mentioned yet. As a species, these are black crappie. They also have white. They have kind of ribs that look like they go down, kind of a pattern that goes down their side. These do not. These are darker in color. I've caught both, but these are species-wise black crappie, which they all, you know, they taste about the same, but these are the ones that I catch the most. A lot of times, if you get in a spot where you catch a big male like this out of a hole, if you'll throw your lure right back, I mean in the exact same spot, you'll almost always pull out a big female right there together, because a lot of times they're at the same place at the same time.
Especially early spring.
Yeah, early spring like this in particular. So we did that a couple times. We would throw right in the same hole, pull out a male and a female like back to back, and that's another little trick to crappie fishing. In the early spring, that is. Another interesting thing is if you catch a few like this off of some brush piles and some places where they like to be, if you'll give it a few days and you got good weather, other fish will move up and take over that area that these other fish were occupying. They'll just kind of go and replenish those spots because they all want the same real estate. So it's like, imagine somebody had a really nice house and they weren't there, and then somebody else went right in behind them. That's kind of what these fish do.
Tell us what else you want to see and what you want to learn. We'll set it up for you next time.
Yeah, next tutorial will be how to skin a cat. Just kidding, all you animal lovers. We'll edit that out. Man, my arm's getting tired picking up all these slabs.
It's a rough life, isn't it?
It's a rough life. And there you go. Just right down on the side, fillet them out. Oh my goodness, guys, this is the last fish. We have gotten down to the bottom of the barrel. And that's a pretty good one to go out on. That one's close to 2 pounds, maybe a hair under. Still a nice fish. My knife is slowing down a little bit, but it's held up pretty good.
Not bad for 29 big slabs.
Yep. So let's do some math here. We had 29 slabs times 2 sides, so we got 58 fillets. But we cut those in half to do the little, what we call crappie nuggets. So you could double that number again, the way we've got them divided up.
Sure.
So over 100 different pieces. I guess that's what, 116?
16.
116 different cuts over there of meat. So we're going to eat good tonight, guys. Last slab. Boom. Last fish. And we absolutely did fill up an entire trash can here with just the remains of the fish that we're not going to eat. Some people do eat fish heads. Not me. Have at it. Actually, a lot of people, though, do eat the fish tails and fins and things. If you fry them up, they're actually pretty good. But, well, that's it. Here's the very last cut.
Here we go. Last nugget.
Crappie nuggets and crappie fillets. And
There we go.
man, you got to have one of these. Electric fillet knife. It is the secret to doing what we just did. Got to have it. And a nice little fillet table doesn't hurt.
And there's the final product.
And that is, how many pounds do you think that is of just raw fillet meat?
That's probably pushing 15, 18 pounds, I'm guessing.
So that's a lot of meat, guys, that we just got harvested right here out of these fish.
There's another several pounds of nuggets.
Yep. And so we're thankful to the Lord, and we're thankful for these fish for giving their lives so that we can have a high protein. You know, they say fish makes your brain smarter too, so, you know, we need a little bit of that. But yeah, so that is kind of the quickest, easiest way that I know of to fillet a bunch of slab crappie. And hope you enjoyed the video. I'll edit it down so it's not like an hour long or however long that was. But anyway, all right, guys.
Till next time.
Till next time. We don't really have a show, but this is Chris and Erin, and, you know, all things outdoors. There you go. All right, peace.